Back on June 18th, earlier this year, I got to see Kendrick Lamar and SZA on tour at the Grand National Tour, and that was hands down one of my favorite concert shows that I've ever been to. My dog is laying right here, and for some odd reason, she just came from outside. Like, she had a whole walk and a half outside, and she came in, had the zoomies. I think it's because I pulled the camera out. That's when she's like, oh, you're trying to do that? You thought. The baby is so cute. Quick rundown on my history with Kendrick and SZA. I fell in love with Kendrick hearing To Pimp a Butterfly when I was like in middle school. To be exact, my older brother on the way to school, he was dropping me off and he was playing These Walls, and that's probably maybe still my favorite Kendrick song of all time, like my number one if you ask me. Heart Part 6 is somewhere up there, definitely. So is Feel. There's so many that I could name. Mr. Morale, the song. There's so many that I could name as my, some top tier Kendrick songs that I just love. But way back then, I fell in love with To Pimp a Butterfly, and then SZA. I think one of the first songs I heard from her might have been the song that she did with Willow Smith. That's a great song. And Prom, which I fell in love with Prom. So that was my introduction into Control and that whole album. And I was deeply obsessed with Control. Like sometime after it came out, because I remember thinking to myself, I'm kind of late, but this was way before SOS dropped. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've just been obsessed with both of these artists. So when I grabbed those tickets, when they dropped, I was over the moon. I kept saying over and over again, did I actually get these tickets? Like, did I genuinely grab 2 tickets for this show? And to see Kendrick Lamar, my favorite rapper, artist, anything, like, ever. I was so happy. Yeah, because I grabbed the tickets right after the Super Bowl. After the long ass wait to the actual show, it was finally the day of the show, and driving to the venue wasn't that bad. We were at Commander Stadium. We got there right before 5, so we were able to stop by SZA's pop-up shop. Side note, I'm going to talk about the pop-up shop experience first, so if you want to skip ahead to the actual concerts, I'll leave a timestamp up here because I have things to say. The pop-up shop was extremely unorganized, I'm going to be honest. First of all, there was a storm when we were on the way to Commander Stadium, so that played a major role kind of in how disorganized everything was. At the same time, they did not make it obvious at all where the shop was. You had the stadium, and then there was a special building that's right near the stadium. It was just there were no signs or anything when you got there to let you know exactly where the pop-up shop was. And I only found out about it because I'm rarely ever on Instagram, but I just so happened to check SZA's Instagram. After I heard about the lip glosses from Reddit, people were talking about it there. I had no idea if she was going to be there or not, but yeah, I told my man, I was like, yo, once we get to the stadium, we are going to this pop-up shop, whether SZA is there or not. I saw in her stories how she showed up for some of the pop-up shops, so I was like, hey, regardless, I'm trying to get me some lip glosses. What's up? But like I was saying before, the storm that was going on really kind of derailed the entire event. When we got there, they were still setting up. Like, they were pulling things out of the actual tractor trailer to put in the tent that they were selling the lip glosses and other merch in. And we actually had to ask someone that was working in the building that's right near the stadium, like, where exactly the pop-up shop was. Just because, like I said, there were no signs or anything. The security team barely knew anything at the stadium. You know, the people who were checking everyone in and validating everyone's tickets, they kind of didn't know, except one person who pointed us in the right direction. Went into that building that we thought the pop-up shop was in, and then we were told to go outside and just look for the tents, look for the truck, because everything got shifted and pushed back time-wise because of the storm. That led us to standing outside probably for over an hour. I think it was like 2, I don't know, I can't remember. I just remember that it didn't take as long as the Dreamville merch line to get anything because that line was long as hell and that took forever. So I think for the pop-up shop, it took maybe a little over an hour or so. Mind you, it was raining. It was storming. We were getting rained on. I was lucky that I brought my umbrella from the car, but other than that, like from my waist down, I was still wet and I still got soaked. My man, he was soaked, he was drenched, but he didn't care. And I will show you a picture of my outfit, which was pretty cute. I'll put a picture over there because I was wearing the Kendrick Say Drake shirt from the Super Bowl and like a white skirt and chunky boots. So that was cute, but I kind of actually got lucky now that I think about it because if I was wearing pants, I would have been pissed. But yeah, so we stood in the rain and waited, and the lines were really not that great the way that they organized the lines. The line for the tour merch, like the Grand National Tour merch, was not long at all. There were multiple people working in the truck that was selling the merch. And everyone was being helped. So I think we had to wait literally like 3 minutes and we were already up there. I grabbed 2 shirts, which I'll leave pictures of which shirts that I got. But we were able to do that. We even went back because my man, he wanted keychains. So we grabbed those. We got our merch, we got out, and then we went to the pop-up shop line, which messy, messy, messy. There was a tent to take pictures in. There was a separate tent to actually buy the lip glosses, the shirts, whatever you wanted. We thought that the longer line, which turned out to be the line to take pictures in, was the merch line. When the guy came around to tell us that, I immediately ran damn near to the merch line, and I still had to wait a good little while because they were literally still unloading the trucks because of the storm. Even then, the tent to take pictures in, before the guy let us know, like, hey, if you guys are trying to buy anything, lip glosses, whatever, the line for that is over there. Before he came out and said that, there were 2 lines. There was a line at the photo booth, at the entrance of the photo booth, and the exit of the photo booth, because there were no signs. No one knew where to stand if you were trying to get into the tent to take pictures, where you come out at once you've done it, where do you go to get merch. Like, it was so unorganized. And then there was a special line for Cash App card holders, which we both had one, but the sign for that line was at the photo booth. So it was a mess. The team had to come out with umbrellas and give those to some people because it was pouring down. They ran out of umbrellas. It was so much going on. And then we didn't even know that the actual merch line had 2 lines going. So someone was nice enough to tell me, like, hey, there's a line over here too if you want to come over here. And we immediately ran before other people ran over too. It was a mess, but after waiting and getting drenched, I was able to grab 3 lip glosses. Actually, hold on. Hello. You say hi? Oh, thank you. When I grabbed the lip glosses, I got 3. I grabbed 2 quarts. One was for my little sister because her birthday was coming up the next month. And then I grabbed In the Flesh, which I will show you. This is In the Flesh. Such a pretty color. And then this one is Quartz, which this one's really nice too. I think both of them layer really well, especially when I throw them over my everyday colors that I wear. They are so freaking pretty. They don't really stick when you do this. like with regular lip glosses. Quartz is just a simple clear gloss, but it's still really nice. They smell good too. I genuinely do like wearing them because they're so rare, I guess you could say, and they're not being sold online or anything. Not that I know of, at least. I feel apprehensive to use them. It is probably my anxiety, yes. I was that sticker kid that did not like putting stickers on every single thing because I was scared I would run out. That's me. But with that being said, if they were sold in stores or online only, I would totally buy more because I really do like them. So were they worth standing in line for? Sure. I even like the packaging. The packaging is cool to me. I still have the boxes that the actual lip glosses came in on my dresser, so I enjoyed it. But the part that made up for standing in the rain, right? So I got the lip glosses. We are carrying our merch. We're walking and heading back to the stadium. And we're heading towards that building that we went in before to ask, like, hey, where is the pop-up shop? And as we are walking up, there's a big ass security guard standing right at the door. And he's saying to everybody, yo, SZA's about to come out. Don't crowd her. Keep your distance, basically. I'm standing there like, holy shit. There is no way that SZA's just about to waltz out of this building after we just stood over there getting drenched because we heard screaming several times while we were walking to go back to the stadium. So I figured SZA somehow took like an alternate route to get to the photo booth. I was wrong. My jaw just dropped. I am not someone to overcrowd anyone, especially in that type of situation. There was just no way, I think, logistically speaking, for her to stop and get a picture with me just because of the way that she came walking out of the building. As soon as she came out, she was like, I have to go to the pop-up shop. And she kept saying that over and over again. And if I had been standing like where the car was that she got in to go to the shop, I probably would have gotten a picture. And that's totally fine because hopefully one day I'll meet her on my own. She's so freaking pretty in person. She's so pretty in person and so nice. Despite the fact that she was in a rush to get to the shop, she still stopped for photos and videos and whatnot and gave some people a hug and everything. So she's just really nice. And that did make up for standing in the rain and getting drenched and everything. So that was a great start to the actual show. Yeah, we got rained on and but at least SZA was like right in front of me. So heading back to the car was a mess and a half because the way that we came in was blocked off by security and the police and whatnot. So we couldn't get back to our actual section that we had a parking pass for. So literally, we left the venue and had to come back. And on the way back, of course, we got stuck in traffic. And we even asked like an officer, like, hey, we just came from the shop. Is there an easier way? Not gonna lie, I think my man did not take the directions the way he should have. So we ended up, like I said, leaving, getting stuck in traffic and coming back. It was kind of atrocious. It was atrocious, to be frank. Once we parked after we got out of said traffic, the venue itself was messy. It was unorganized, just like the pop-up shop. Our seats a few days before the show got moved. We were going to sit in front of the stage. It was going to be like our seats, the sounding equipment, of course, and then the stage. But our seats got moved, so we sat on the side of the stage, which was a huge blessing in disguise because ultimately we were closer to the stage. However, for some odd reason in their system, that didn't go through. So I walked up to the first gate. Ticket did not scan. I asked for help. We were told to go to a different gate to enter. Tickets still didn't scan. We were told to go back to the first initial gate that we tried to go to. Tickets still didn't scan. I said, hey, what's going on? The guy was like, oh, no. What? Where did you? Who sent you? And I told him exactly who, like the person from gate E or whatever. And he was like, I don't know why they told you that. The easiest thing that you can do is go right up to the ticket booth. And that's what I did. Once we got up to the ticket booth, luckily there wasn't a long line or anything. So I was able to walk up, let them know, hey, our seats got moved, tickets aren't scanning. And they were able to resolve it. Something else that made me feel a little bit better was walking through the special entrance, I guess you could say. My man's ticket, his scanned perfectly fine once we got up there, but mine still didn't. They looked at my ticket while we were walking through there, again, after seeing it in the ticket booth. And they were just like, you know what, just come on in. Come on in, welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy it. And they gave me one of these. I thought getting kind of special treatment was really nice after having to walk back and forth from the different sections to enter. And I'm totally manifesting that I will be going to concerts and shows through special entrances all the time. So this is not a unique experience, but without all of the hassle to get in. So when we finally got to our seats, DJ Mustard was on. We didn't catch the beginning of his set, of course, because we were stuck in traffic and having trouble getting in. But once we were in, and I was so happy. Oh my God. Mustard put on a great set. It was right before Juneteenth too. So the person that was sitting right next to me, they were like, we're cousins now. And I was like, hell yeah. And we swag surfed together and everything. We had a ball. And then after Mustard went off, they actually told him to come back for a little bit. He played a few more songs and then he went back. After a while, the smoke started going off in the venue and the show started. I almost cried. Like after the intro video, I almost cried. I can't put it into words just how fucking ecstatic I was to see Kendrick Lamar live. If I had been, on top of it to see him for Mr. Morale and that tour, I would have seen him for that. But I almost cried. I didn't even see, he came up in the car. He didn't even step out of the car and I almost cried. Oh my God. I was beside myself the whole show. I'll put the set list also on the side of the screen so you guys can see what the set list was looking like for the show. I thought it was great how they switched in between SZA, Kendrick throughout the show, just to give each of them some time to kind of chill in between their turns. I also like how they worked in the songs that they've done together because I think that worked out better than having them perform all of their songs together all at once, like towards the beginning or the end of the show, because that just made everything feel seamless in the fact that this was a joint tour. I'm trying to point out what my favorite songs that were performed live were. I will say off the top of my head, I'm so sad he did not perform Heart Part 6, which I figured Kendrick wouldn't be doing that song because it was in a concert interlude films, which were beautifully done. I got creeped out because Bug Lady wanted to put spiders in it and shit. But other than that, it was beautifully done. But I like Kendrick being interrogated, and SZA was great too with the jokes, and their banter was just awesome. I would scream if they did like a film together, like a comedy or a dramedy together. That would go off. I'm gonna just be honest though, looking at this list and like kind of reliving everything. I was a whole in a skirt. He performed Euphoria and I immediately got fucking chills. Hearing that song live, please. Scorsese Baby Daddy was so much fun to sing to at the show. Consideration, I almost lost my mind. That's one of my favorite songs, hands down. Like, regardless of what we're talking about. Consideration, one of my favorite songs. All the Stars is my song. That song kind of makes me cry still to this day. I remember seeing Black Panther. I was beyond excited to see that movie in general as an MCU fan. But to hear All the Stars and the way that they used it in the post-credits, chills. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's probably my favorite post-credit scene after a Marvel movie still to this day, just because of that feeling that I had seeing an all-black cast in a Marvel movie, and then Kendrick and SZA doing a song. And then, I know I keep listing my favorites, and I'm sorry, but the first Black Panther soundtrack, one of my favorite albums, I can't stop listing my favorites. I'm sorry. Love, Peekaboo, DNA was crazy. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe was crazy. Money Trees. Poetic Justice was funny. I'm mad SZA didn't do Shirt in Full. Good Days is stunning. That might have been when... Wait, is that... I think that might have been when she transformed into like the butterfly and she was floating at the top of the stage. That was so gorgeous. And she did 20 something at our show, which that was amazing to hear live. There was a snippet of Bodies. And 95 was great. TV Off with the mustard part towards the end of the show. Amazing. So was Not Like Us, and then Luther and Gloria to close the show. I got so sad when they were doing Gloria because that meant it was over. But I do feel like the concert length was pretty good. Did I want it to end? Hell no. But I was still pretty satisfied. Then we were the last show for the US leg of the tour, so that felt pretty special. I did not want that night to end. I genuinely did not want that night to end. It was so much fun. If I could relive it, I would. Even with all of the issues, I had so much fun. That show ranks very high in my concert list so far. I'm still looking to build that list, of course. Man, I'd do it again. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would also see both of them, of course, on their own tours when they are to happen. I think SZA did a good amount of songs from her earlier EPs and whatnot to Control and SOS. With Kendrick, I'm glad he mixed in a lot of his earlier stuff from Good Kid, Mad City. I wanted more from Mr. Morale, but it's okay because I totally missed that tour. I'm glad this was GNX heavy because that album is just fun in and of itself. So that was perfect for this tour to have it be GNX heavy. I love them both. I love them both so much. So much. But yeah, that was my experience at the show. Leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and if you were at any of the shows during the Grand National Tour, how was your experience? What was your favorite song that they performed? My name is Rain, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye!